Most people don't realize how much their personal information is being bought and sold every day. Data brokers are making billions, pulling details about you from public records and the internet, and then packaging and selling it, usually without your consent. That's how your information lands in the hands of scammers, spammers, even stalkers. It's why you get endless robocalls and why ads seem to follow you everywhere. That's where Aura comes in. Aura actively removes your data from broker sites and keeps it off. They also instantly alert you if your information shows up in a breach or on the dark web. But Aura goes beyond data protection. With one app, you get a VPN, antivirus, password manager, spam call protection, dark web monitoring, and even up to $5 million in identity theft insurance. All backed by 24/7 US-based fraud support. Other companies might sell just credit monitoring or just a VPN. Aura gives you all of it, together, at the same price competitors charge for just one service. Start your free trial today at aura.com/remove. Protect yourself now at aura.com/remove.
The following is brought to you by the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
This is All Things Elite. Welcome back to All Things Elite. Load up the pod, man, it's on when we speak. Rich right here, let me warm it up for Austin and Floyd. Couldn't be no one but the boys. When it come to All Things Elite from the fan perspective, swear, man, it ain't no question. Hear from them first. Swear, man, they putting in the work. No, they had to get me for the verse. Social Suplex Network's on. I was at a time in your headphones. Austin and Floyd on the microphone. Backing out on the ring, getting in the zone. Pulling up the show, give it 7 stars, you already know. Who else could it be but the show with the proclivity for positivity? I'm gone.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the 320th episode of Social Suplex's podcast about AEW with a proclivity for positivity. Welcome to All Things Elite. My name is Austin Sumwitz. I am the host of this lovely show. Joining with me, as always, is my good buddy and friend, Mr. Floyd Johnson Jr., my man. We escaped New York together, even though they tried to lock us in. How you doing, man?
So, I'm doing great. I did not have the problems getting home that you might have because, I will tell everybody this, and we're going to start by talking about this because WrestleMania 35, I was staying in Brooklyn. The show was in New Jersey, and it was raining. And the show ends late. It's raining. The trains to get there, they had like extra trains to get you there. So there was like no wait, no anything. They had all these trains to get you there. By the time we left, because of the time, they only had like 1 or 2 trains going at the same time. I didn't have money like that, like extra money like that. So I couldn't go like, oh, let's do an Uber and pay the $200 to get back to Brooklyn. So I had to wait. And it literally took me 6.5 hours to get home. 6.5 hours to get from the place to my location. And I had a show then called Around the Ring, and I got on and I complained. But you know who I never blamed? The WWE.
You never blame.
I never blamed the WWE. Okay, and so this is my controversial take on this. It is the attendee's job to decide how they're getting back and forth from the show.
No, it's the venue. Like, venues help deal with like assigned locations for like rideshare pickups and stuff like that. That is the venues that put those together specifically.
And there was no organization as to know where you were supposed to go. They should have
exactly. Well, because again, this venue, because Louis Armstrong Stadium is attached to the U.S. Open like campus right next to Arthur Ashe and stuff like that. And those venues are used to daytime tennis events and stuff like that normally last a while and like are a lot more like come and go, and there's not much more like there's not an instance where like it's going to be past midnight at a tennis show, like at a tennis event. That's not going to happen. So they were like, I truly believe they were not prepared for the insanity that this show was going to bring.
I will say this. AEW can help.
They can. No, they can.
Eastern Standard Time pay-per-views should start an hour or two earlier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get that.
I truly believe that. They might not ever do it. There might be contracts that they can't do it, but they adjust for All In every year. It starts at 1 o'clock, right? So why can't we adjust for Eastern time zone shows? We're going to start an hour earlier. Tony Khan times it so people can catch public transportation. I'm not saying it's AEW's responsibility. Not at all. I'm saying it would be nice and an increase to a fan experience to start an hour earlier when you're in Eastern Standard Time. When you're on the West Coast, you have to start early anyway. Central also, and I think most of the parts of the country in the Central Time Zone don't have good public transportation anyway, so most of the people are driving anyway. So, but on the East Coast, especially in that what is that called? The Tri-Cities of, Pennsylvania, New York, New Jersey. Most people rely heavily on public transportation, Uber and all that kind of stuff. So if you could literally figure out a way to organize getting out the show earlier so people can catch stuff, maybe some kind of sponsorship deal with Uber where there's a lot of cars waiting afterwards where you call everybody in. Whatever you got to do, again, it's not their responsibility. But if you want to continue to be the premier company in fan experience, which I believe AEW is, helping to make sure your people can get home in a timely manner and get there in a somewhat organized manner would be an extra feather in your cap of why you're better than anyone else.
No, yeah, I get that. But
no, I'm not saying it's their responsibility at all.
No, yeah.
And this would be an extra service that they choose to do. But that's why I say it would increase the fan experience to know. Because my friend Journey, who I was with, she left, I think 3 matches left on the show. She had to go back to New Jersey. Mm-hmm. And that's a decision New Yorkers have to make all the time.
All the time, yeah. No, exactly.
All the time.
Sid and I were fine because, like I said, there was still a train running for the Long Island Railroad for us to get back to Times Square, basically.
Yes.
So we didn't really have that much of an issue. We just had to wait around a little bit.
So,
other than we tried to get back earlier with an Uber, and that was not going to work where we were.
So this is my annoying thing. So we waited in this wrong area where Uber couldn't get to us, right? So, and we, the Ubers canceled 3 or 4 times. So that was annoying, but we started walking that way, and then we ran into Mox.
Oh, really?
And yeah, and then my friend Kendi's a huge Mox fan. So early in the day, Laura is Kendi's best friend. She's like, do everything you can make this night super memorable for Kendi. I'm like, I'm taking her to the show. I'm not on the show. There's nothing I can do. I can't make this extra special. I have no power, Right. The show's going to be the show. What I've heard, to a lot of people's opinion, one of the best AEW pay-per-views of all time. We're going to talk about that in just a second.
Absolutely.
But, so we walk, and then one of her favorite singles wrestler was Mox. We were literally just talking about how she had met everybody in the Shield twice except Mox. So she got a quick picture with Mox. So that was fucking awesome. Nice. For me, that was worth the wait. And then once we got up there, we saw a cab, and we were only 6 minutes away from the venue. So we jumped in the cab. Now, this is where the annoying part goes in. I say, Fairfield by Marriott, LaGuardia, Flushing. I said, it's on College Point on the street. Yeah, I'm doxing myself, but I'm probably never going to stay there again. So
I was going to say.
Yeah, everyone can know where I stayed this one time. So he starts driving. And when it's a cab, I don't do this with Uber. When it's a cab, I immediately pull up the GPS because I don't want them driving anywhere I want to. So I'm looking at the GPS. He starts going past where he's supposed to go. I'm like, dude, you're going the wrong way. I'm like, you're supposed to be going to LaGuardia. He's like, Astoria, right? I'm like, no. I said Flushing. I even said the street name. So he pulls over to the side, tells me to change it in the app or whatever. And I'm like, dude, it's not letting me change it in the app. So he has to give me the phone, and I have to put the number in there, and he drives. The weird thing is, the thing that pissed me the most off He didn't turn off the meter.
Of course not. Why? No, that's always what it is. Like, yeah.
This was his fault.
I know.
And he didn't turn off the meter.
Yep.
So we're like $15. We're at $15 before he turns around and takes it back, and we're at 30. The Uber was 46, and I only ended up with 30, but that's great. And I said, so are you going to do something about this fare? I told you the right place. You went to the wrong place.
Oh, God.
And he's like, no. I went to where you said, no, you didn't. Everybody in this car heard me tell you the street address. And if you couldn't find Fairfield on the street that I said, you should say, hey, I can't find it. So
yeah, that's brutal.
So I paid $30 and that tip came up 0. Fuck you.
I was just going to say, yeah.
If I lived in the city, I would have definitely called the cab company and complained. I know they wouldn't have done anything, but I would have complained. But I don't live in the city. I was going home in a minute. But I was so pissed. Mm-hmm. So pissed because I went out of my way. Because in New Orleans once, I said just the hotel name, and we put in the wrong hotel, and he went out the way, and it ended up being $40. But that was on me. I didn't confirm what hotel it was. This one, I said the hotel name. I said where it was supposed to be, and I said the street that it was supposed to be on. Dude, I was so annoyed. But we got there. I mean, $30 got there. Had a great time. I mean, again, that was just the end of the night. Got home just fine. So just in case for anybody that's worried, you're like, Floyd, how did you go to New York? My wife's twin sister came and stayed with her and took care of her while I was gone, because most trips, as you might understand, are prepaid. So I had already bought the flight ticket. I had already bought tickets to the show. I had already paid for the hotel. So Crystal, being the amazing human she was, and I don't know if it was selfless or selfish. It doesn't matter. I'll take it either way. She didn't want to be the reason I missed the show. So she said, just go. You are not canceling. Like I told her, I didn't tell her like, oh, I will cancel. I said, oh, okay, I'm canceling, and started telling her, I would get the things back and I'd find someone in New York to give the ticket to. And she's like, no, you're not canceling. Go. My sister will come stay with me. So that's what happened. Again, I just kind of like, for anybody that might be concerned, she has not been alone since she came back. So since she came to my house, and she won't be until she gets ready to go back. The one problem I'm having with her is getting her to sit still. Mm-hmm. She's like doing laundry, doing dishes, and I'm like, no, the fuck, if you can do all this, you should go back to work. In which it wasn't. It's a joke, but it was like, sit your ass down. I can handle the household duties until you go, until you're better or whatever. So it is. As someone that is her, who's all about her business and stuff, just sitting there is fucking torture to her. So, yeah.
Right.
All right. Well, we can move on.
Yes. Yeah. So, that's a fun way for us to start it, but honestly, it's like, that's the most you're going to hear us probably complain even a little bit when it comes to this show. Because, of course, like we said, we both got back from New York, both got back from Double or Nothing, one of the most hotly anticipated AEW pay-per-views in recent memory, and currently what has now been considered one of the best AEW pay-per-views of all time. It is craziness because I am still recovering from the show. Sleep schedule is all the way fucked up, so I'm trying to get myself back into the swing of my whole schedule and everything like that, but we had an amazing time. We can't wait to talk about everything with this show and share our thoughts and experiences and just talk about the pay-per-view and everything about it. So we're going to get into all of it, guys.
All of it.
But before we get into the podcast real quick, of course, we appreciate the support. So we want to make sure you guys are downloading this fine show, whether you listen to us on YouTube Music, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. We really appreciate it if you share us around with your friends, family, coworkers, whoever you wish. Rate, review, subscribe, turn automatic downloads on, and follow us on Twitter at ATElitePod. You can also follow at Social Suplex. This podcast is part of the Social Suplex Network. And there's a bunch of other great shows you guys should absolutely check out that are part of this network. We're loving loving to be a part of this this podcasting family. I'm at Austin Sumowicz, SZUMOWICZ. Floyd is at Floyd Johnson Jr. on Twitter, and sign up for the Social Suplex newsletter. You can find the link in the description of this show. And there is no news of the week, obviously, just with the fact of Double or Nothing. We're going to get right into it. So we'll go quickly over the buy-in first, which, of course, we had Mick Foley making his AEW debut, showing up to co-host the buy-in with Renee Paquette. And
dude,
he's officially All Elite, too. By the end of the night, we found out he was officially All Elite as well. So massive welcome from the fans for Mick Foley, a guy that is just like, it's just so cool to see him in AEW now.
So I will say this about Mick Foley. Never was a fan of him as a wrestler. Like, just not my cup of tea. But I've always been a fan of him as a human. He just seems like he's always super nice. I went to a couple of his one-man shows and, talked to him a bit. And he's always like super nice, Gemini Power, because, good Lord, what's that? Oh,
that was one of my cats. My apologies.
Yeah. So, like this video just started playing. Like the screen didn't refresh. It just started playing. So, that being said, yeah, so when he came out and I heard that New York pop, I was very happy. And yeah, I am happy that he's there because he talks about AEW restoring his love for wrestling. I can't say AEW restored my love for wrestling, but it definitely presents wrestling more to my sensibilities.
Right.
So I will say that I've always loved wrestling. I've never not loved wrestling, but AEW is like, hey, this is how Floyd likes wrestling. There you go. With some obvious exceptions. And I do want to ask, because I said I was going to take a shot at him, just because for fun. This is the greatest, one of the greatest AEW pay-per-views of all time. FTR and Takeshita were on it, and Hangman wasn't. And no one noticed. No one noticed. Nobody. Nobody noticed. No, it's funny because I was really talking about that because I hadn't heard any. Like, I'm on Twitter quite often, scrolling through, getting messages, just trying to see what the world's up to, and just on my Twitter, I never see anybody like, "Oh, I miss Hangman." His fans are just so used to him being gone.
He'll just disappear for a good period of time every once in a while.
Yeah, and it's like, and nobody will really know why. You'll hear rumors, you'll hear this, and that, and I was like, and he'll just be gone. So hopefully he's okay, because I don't want the man to die or anything. It's not dude, I make fun of his character. The guy behind him probably a swell fella, but that being said, I was sitting there on Twitter and I just had to stop and I talked to Jackie. I was like, dude, does anybody miss him? The main
They're just used to this man just having some time off, I guess.
As I say, he's on his Roman Reigns main character gimmick where he comes and works 3 months a year and then goes home.
So.
Yeah, so it goes home.
Yes, I guess so. Yeah. We're going to talk a little bit more about Mick Foley and everything he said, specifically when we get to the end of the buy-in. I will say, moving into the first match of the buy-in, which was the 5-minute eliminator match for the women's tag team title, Divine Division versus Zeta Steel and Viva Van. Yeah, it was what it was. Like, honestly,
I loved that. I love the fact that they ran at first.
Yeah.
Because your goal is all you have to do is last 5 minutes. You don't have to beat them. Last 5 minutes. Run.
I will say, I kind of wish that there was maybe a little bit more urgency from Divine Division.
Yeah.
Because, like, with it being 5 minutes, the whole thing is they want to show you how fast they can just take care of business. What would be cool is, they pin them or they hit him with a move, and then like Viva Van or somebody rolls out, and they're just like, "Fuck, we're wasting time." Because if they don't get the 5 minutes, that's a win for the baby faces, basically. So
correct.
It would be cooler if they're trying to like fuck, like finish this thing off, and then like they do it, but like maybe there's like 10. I mean, there was only like less than a minute left on the clock anyway, like for the match. So like it would be funny if they were doing that, and then they're like, I didn't even break a sweat. Like, even though, like, they nearly got your ass, and then they could just be yelling at the crowd, like, shut up. Like, you'll bow to us, and you'll show us our respect, blah, 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 blah. So, that was my only real complaint. Other than that, match was fine. But, yeah, like you said, the fact that they ran away was very, very clever. And also, poor Christopher Daniels. Well, actually, no. Honestly, I think a lot of people would be fine if they were Christopher Daniels in that spot right there.
Yeah, I'd be okay with that. But
I was just gonna say,
but after the match, they started beating up everybody basically.
Yeah,
and then we had a save.
Yes, TJ coming back and making their push to go after the tag titles and go after Divine Dominion. So cool to see TJ together and see how they match up against Divine Dominion.
Yes. Yeah, it should be fun. TJ, when in the original tournament, got eliminated early, and a lot of the hardcore beginning AEW people did not like that. So, I mean, hopefully, maybe they could be the next tag team to win it. I don't know. But they came out with those kendo sticks, and yeah, it was pretty cool.
It was, yeah. We then go into the trios match between the Death Riders and the Ops. So, Daniel Garcia, Claudio Castagnoli, and Wheeler Yuta versus Hook, Anthony Bowens, and Katsuyori Shibata. Can I tell you how much it makes me laugh when the Death Riders do their little huddle circle thing? Like, that shit fucking kills me. It is so goddamn funny. Again, another solid match on the buy-in. Thought that, loved how, like, the crowd was adamantly, like, against Hook in this one. I thought that was pretty good. And how they had, like, they were just like, nah, just don't even want to deal with Hook. But every time Shibata got in the ring, everyone was so excited, and they wanted to see Shibata and Castagnoli. Like that was the thing that was the real attachment of this match was Shibata and Claudio. We want to see it. And, like, they were just teasing you every once in a while. And then when they got in, like, the crowd was absolutely lit as they were just layering in strikes on each other's chins. And man, Claudia was laying in the uppercuts like crazy. Like, it was so good. The moment where Daniel Garcia is trying to chop Shibata, and he's just like, nope, do it again. You're not doing it good enough. And then just absolutely drops him to his ass. But eventually, numbers game, they go after Anthony Bowens and beat the living shit out of him, and that is what ends up taking care of business for that match. Again, solid enough trios match, but that's
they would make the Jersey guy take the fall in New York, right?
They would do that, wouldn't they?
They would do it. Those dirty mother. No, but yeah, very. Just an entertaining match. Like, it's like that first hour is basically like an old Rampage.
Yes.
It's like,
Exactly. Speaking of that, the insanity of the 5-on-5 tag match where it was fucking the conglomeration, Mark Briscoe, Orange Cassidy, Roderick Strong, and Boom and Doom, Big Boom AJ, and QT Marshall facing off against Shane Taylor Promotions with Shane Taylor, Lee Moriarty, Carly Bravo, Sean Dean, and Anthony Ogogo. And they also had, of course, Big Boom AJ. They had Big Justice and the Rizzler and Harley Cameron, who was going after Christian XO over a child. Like, I had to look this up because I was genuinely a little bit concerned when I was like, the Rizzler is 10 years old.
And he's been the same height for 7 years.
Yes, and Harley Cameron and Christian XO were fighting for the love of a 10-year-old.
Because he has the Riz, sir.
I guess so.
No.
But I was just like,
y'all aren't gonna have.
Do we want to talk about this?
I hope not. Because let me tell you. Oh my God, I hate how over they are. When that music hit and the crowd went fucking nuts. And then he's like, boom, boom, 5 boom, 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 boom. I'm like, my head hurts. This cannot be real life. And it works. I can't complain about it because it works. And that's what wrestling's about. Everything's going to be for you. And this guy comes out in that area, tri-state area. He comes out, has his son, his son's friend. They get to go out there with wrestlers, and he's generally going to get the pinfall. Life is good being Big Boom AJ.
Yes. Life is not good, though, if you're QT Marshall, where you get dropped on your cock on the top rope. You sit there for what feels like an eternity, and then in the final Tower of Doom spot, you lose your balance and fall and jump to the outside.
Yeah, QT took a bump there. I thought, always in wrestling fan brain mode, I was like, oh man, are they building up to him eventually turning on? But no, it was literally an accident. He literally got hurt. So, the medical staff took care of him and got him to the back. So,
I truly hope he's okay.
Yeah, I hope he's okay. Heal him up. Like I said, I thought it was part of the show, and then I realized quickly that it wasn't. And yeah, so I hope QT's okay because I actually like QT. I'm big. Yeah, I'm a QT Marshall fan.
No, legit, yeah.
Yeah, so I like him. I think he's a super talented wrestler. So when it came down to it, I was like, oh, shit, okay. I was like I said, the way it was set up, it was like he was sitting up there, and then Big Boom AJ did the thing anyway, and I thought he was going to take it and be like, oh, man, I fell off the ring, and you didn't even come check on me kind of thing. But no, it was actually an accident. So there you go.
So, yeah. But the final moment of the buy-in was, Mick Foley and Renee Paquette talking up the main card and talking up the main event, and then Maxwell Jacob Friedman comes out after Foley picked Darby Allin to retain the title, and he comes out basically, and he's like going to talk about Foley's opinion and everything like that, and he calls out the fans where he goes, why are we supposed to care about the opinion of someone who always failed in big spots? And the crowd was mad at that, so they booted him. And he's like, you guys are mad? He's like, listen, I'm not going to listen to anybody who honestly believes that the New York Knicks have a shot of winning a championship. And I immediately rose to my feet and started cheering louder than ever. Because fuck the Knicks and fuck those Knicks fans forever. So MJF that's the easiest babyface turn you could have ever made for me, was going after Knick fans. Thank you. Thank you, Max. You're doing the Lord's work, truly, for doing that. You are big Hebrewing it up for calling out Knick fans. I don't give a shit if y'all got swept out of it either. Floyd, you have no idea how hard I'm rooting for you in OKC. You have no idea.
So let me tell you, I generally didn't care about who was coming from the East. The East is like the minor leagues of the NBA, basically.
It's such a bad East, dude.
So I was like, whoever wins the Thunder Spurs series are going to dog off the Knicks to steal a line from Jacob Fatu. But being around the Knicks fans for 6 hours made me not only did it make me not want the Knicks to lose, I'm going to find joy in them losing now. Knicks fans are so annoying.
They're ridiculous, dude. They're literally the worst.
They're so annoying. I'm like, dude, y'all, literally, there's no one in here that was alive when the Knicks won an NBA title.
I was 2 years old when they last made it to the finals.
Correct. So you need to calm down. Y'all don't run shit yet, okay?
They ain't,
All right. So, it was funny. I was like, light work, when the Thunder get through, or the Spurs. Honestly, I think the Thunder or the Spurs, they're going to get handled either way.
Absolutely.
But, so my friend was like, well, do you really think the Knicks don't have a chance? I was like, they haven't played anybody.
They beat up on the Hawks and had a little scare at the beginning of that. Then they beat up on a horseshit Cavaliers team, which just makes me mad Actually, no. They beat up on not the Cavs. Sorry, who they beat up afterwards? They beat up.
That was the 6. Whoever the 7 seed was.
It was Philly. It was Philly. They beat up on Philly, and then they beat up on Cleveland. And just
the first time they'll play a 1 or a 2 seed in this playoffs.
Absolutely,
is when they play them in the finals. Like
the easiest pathway to the finals you could have ever asked for, and all it's going to lead to is them losing in 5.
They won 10 games in a row. Cause I'm like, yeah, they have.
Cool.
Yeah, the Thunder started 8-0 in the playoffs. Are we going to talk about that? Oh, no, never mind.
I was just going to say, nope.
Yeah, no, so whatever.
Take care of business, dude. Just literally what I need you to do. MJF made the biggest babyface turn in that night, and I'm rooting for you like hell. Like I hope you know that. Like I'm on your side.
Yes.
I'm chanting OKC.
Yes.
I'm riding with you all the way because I can't have that fan base be happy for even a little bit. You saw how if you see the videos of them reacting after they won Game 4 against Cleveland and moved on, like it's insufferable. It's insufferable.
Let me tell you, that city is going to burn down if they win the finals. I know they're not. It's safe. You don't have to worry about it. But it's going to burn down if they win the finals.
Yep.
Like the only way I can see the Knicks competing. Not winning, competing, like being of any chance to win, is if like San Antonio, Oklahoma City, they go to Game 7, and then in the last minute, either Shea or Victor Wembanyama get hurt in the last minute.
That's the only option. It's the only option.
So, and basically, again, it would be still like, hey, you won the title, but never mind. That's just not going to happen.
It's not. It's not even going to worry about it.
Thunder up tonight, 3-2. Hopefully we can close it out in 6.
It's either what's either going to happen is either y'all are going to win and I'm going to root for OKC, or Thunder Rosa is going to win and I'm going to root for her Spurs.
Yes.
Literally the only thing. Either one of my two homies are going to be happy because they're going to win the NBA championship.
Yes.
It can't be Knicks fans. I don't care.
Knicks.
Fuck the Knicks.
Yeah. Okay.
And if you're a Knicks fan, we can't be friends.
Well, yeah, I don't even know any Knicks fans. I didn't even know. No, actually, I do know one Knicks fan. He's a really cool dude. But I still need his team to lose. And I honestly need them to get blown out all 4 games.
Absolutely.
I need it to be not close.
It needs to be 5 at a maximum.
Yes. I need the tickets for the game in New York to be like $12 because no one thinks they can win. Yeah, that'd be good stuff.
No, make sure it's still butt fuck expensive so the Jagoffs who pay that much money have to spend that much to see their team lose.
Yes. Yeah, right now, if you get a ticket the get-in price for a ticket to game 1 is $1,500.
Yeah, so spend that money to see your team lose. Fuck you.
Dude, I tell you, if I was a season ticket holder and I had their game 1 seats and I could get $1,500 a
sell
ticket,
that shit. Absolutely.
Dude, I'm not going to that game. I'm taking the $3,000 and rolling it to my next tickets next year. But moving on from our New Yorker hate.
So again, Max is calling out Mick Foley during this, and basically, saying, you and Foley are a lot like because, you and Darby Allin are a lot like because you're both underdogs, and when your backs are against the wall, you lose. And Foley waits for a little bit because he was like, can I just take this in? Because I didn't know if I was ever going to get this feeling again. And like, really cool moment where he kind of took appreciation that he got another chance to like just do this shit, like cut a promo and everything like that. And Foley fucking nailed this shit, dude. He talked about how I've lost a lot of matches. He mentioned a young man named Dwayne Rock Johnson. He had some victories against him too. I love the fact that the crowd booed when The Rock got brought up. So good. But he's like, none of those matches that I lost in, though, did I lose in 2 minutes and 15 seconds. And he's mad as hell. He's like, that's not a loss. That's a disgrace. So unless you want to be known as the man whose matches can time an egg, better put your big boy pants on, because Darby Allin, yeah, when you see him, you see shades of me, but he's a younger me, a more athletic me, and someone wants to win more than I ever did, because I just wanted to steal the show. I was content to just do that. He's not, because he's going to simultaneously steal the show and take what you love most, the AEW World title and your hair. And then the ball chants start. Foley then gets hit in the dick by MJF, Looks like he's going to hit him with the Dynamite Diamond Ring, and Darby chases him off. And that's when Foley looks to Darby and goes, I didn't know until about a month ago that I inspired you. And now, when Jon Moxley faced you at Six Flags Great Adventure in New Jersey, Moxley was like, if you could stay around for this match, please, this kid can do anything. And I looked at him, and he repeated the word anything. And he said, as I've watched you succeed in my own way, I've succeeded too, because you're the weird kid who was never picked for stardom, and now tonight you're going to win one for the weird ones. Outstanding promo. And
win one for the Micker.
Yes, and then he was like, if I could quote an old friend of mine, I just want to conclude by saying bang, bang. And everyone's just like so excited. And that is a great way too. This closing out the buy-in is a great way to sell a pay-per-view for anybody who hadn't bought it yet and were just watching the buy-in. Like, Nick sold the hell out of this.
I gotta say, Bang Bang is like the most appropriate catchphrase for a Darby Allin because he looks like a school shooter.
There's the line. There's the line.
Yeah. Yeah, I made it very clear who I'm going for in the main event. I hope y'all know that.
Yes, he was very clear.
I'm very clear that I need this to end. I need this to end very, very badly.
We'll get there.
Yeah, like I said, my two biggest disconnects with the AEW fan base, this Darby Allin run, because I have to take the L on it. Because overwhelmingly everyone has liked this run except for like me and one girl named Sarah on Twitter. Everybody else has liked it, so I'm wrong because that's how wrestling works. Whatever's popular is the right answer. I'm wrong when it comes to the Darby thing, even though I didn't enjoy it. I'm wrong. Okay,
yep.
And then Kyle O'Reilly, which
we'll get to
dry plain white toast. There.
We will get to it.
Yeah.
We open up the main card of the show. I Quit match. Tag team titles on the line. Christian Cage and Adam Copeland versus FTR.
So, my two biggest wrestling regrets since FTR had come to left WWE, came to AEW. One was the Death Before Dishonor. I missed the second match with FTR and the Briscoes, right? And then with the Young Bucks, because of last minute announcements, they did a match, I believe in Boston was their second match, and I missed that. So I never got to see I didn't get to see the whole trilogy of the Briscoes. I haven't seen every FTR Young Bucks match live. But through the grace of the world, and thank you for Tony Khan for actually announcing stuff super early, I have been in the building for all three of these FTR Christian and Cope matches. And with this one, this is another one added to the legacy. So, sir, do your thing.
Yes, this match opening up was very, very, very strong. I will say it was, I believe it was confirmed, and this leads into later in the night, though. They weren't really allowed to bleed for this show, were they?
They were not allowed to fight in the crowd, and they weren't allowed to bleed.
Yes, the New York Sports and Athletics Commission did not allow blood and did not allow them to fight in the crowd, which, of course, that kind of only ties into the one match, which, again, we'll get to. But, yeah, like in an I Quit match with no blood was a very interesting thing, considering. Now, they did other stuff to make sure that they could keep the violence to a certain level.
I did want to bring up one thing. So I was full on, when FTR's wrestling, I'm full on FTR fuck the other team.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, yes, but the reason I say this, I did almost crack when Cope's music came out and the whole crowd was singing. And
You wanted to do it, dude. You wanted to do it.
I don't think there was a person in that building not singing, not standing up and singing. And it was just like, I almost got caught up in the emotion and started singing. I literally had to turn around and look the other way. and people thought I was just like doing a thing. I was like, dude, because I was like, on this day, yeah, because I mean, again, like you will all find out. I do joke about like FTR, and I call Christian and Copeland old and all that shit. But I'm a huge Christian and Copeland fan.
Yeah,
I was, so I'm a huge fan of both of them. So hearing that music playing out, hearing everybody sing along, it was such a fucking magical moment. As the music guy, it felt like that building with the roof closed had amazing acoustics. It felt like every sound was like 10 times louder than what you were making. So I'm asking you what it was as the musician, and what was your impression?
It was like awesome. Well, what was really cool too is that when we were waiting for us to meet up with our friends and stuff like that, we could hear them testing the entrance musics from outside the venue because the acoustics, they don't like vanish up into the ceiling because of the fact that like the ceiling was closed, but it still traveled around the venue. So there was a really good acoustics in there. So it was loud all night. In New York made sure you heard them because they were absolutely electric for every single match on the card. They were electric for all of it. Yeah. But yeah, it was awesome. I could barely hear myself singing over how loud everyone else was singing.
Everyone but Hook was over tonight.
Yes, everyone but Hook.
And this is not me hating on Hook. Just watch the show. Callis, yeah, just watch the show. Don Callis, like Hook, is he a heel?
I mean, kind of.
Yeah, I mean, so he gets booed out the building. Don Callis gets booed, But it was just like, dude, if you watching this show, you would have just thought this was just a show full of the biggest stars you've ever seen because everybody got a reaction.
Yeah. It's awesome when like the fans add to a show because we've had a couple instances with AEW pay-per-views where the crowd is not as into it as we would hope, or like they're into it but they're not as loud. New York wanted to be loud.
Absolutely.
But going back to the actual match though, it broke out into loads of violence already with this match, and it was so fucking good, dude. I thought this was such a great way to open up the show.
They hit the shatter machine twice, but
they did.
And if you're FTR, that's something as heels you can use later to say, we had you, but we added the stupid, their own hubris cost them the match. Because if it was just a regular match or even a street fight, the match is over.
Yeah, the match is over. I quit.
They wanted to make them say I quit. They wanted to embarrass Christian and Cope. In the end, it didn't work out that way.
No, it did not. Barbed wire was brought out instantaneously with them. I love the spot where Christian not only dropped Dax into the barbed wire that he tied onto the rope, but then proceeded to shove his neck into it by doing his stand on him with the top and middle rope. Suplex to a ladder on the outside. There was a toolbox brought in, and Christian Cage immediately grabs some pliers and starts grabbing at Dax's nose, and he's screaming into the microphone for mercy. And then he takes the other, he then stops Cash from coming in, and pliers straight to the dick. Straight to the dick, and just lifts him up in the air. It was such a good spot. It was so good.
My favorite thing about Christian is how little his character has changed from being a heel to a face.
Exactly.
He's the same guy.
And if you need emblematic proof of that too, after he gets dropped into a spike pile driver on the announce table, they are looking like they're going to try to smash his hand with a cinder block. And then instead they miss, break it, and then they shove his hand into the cinder block and then smash it with a steel chair. And as they ask him if he wants to quit, Christian proceeds to just go like, I, looking like he's going to say I quit. But no, he says, I banged your mother.
Yes, and then the crowd chanted, bangs your mom, bangs your mom, bangs your mom.
And that led into the best chant of the entire night. Oh, he banged your mother. Like, pitch perfect, outstanding work. Like, I was dying. It was so good. But Christian is taken out for a little bit. Copeland looks like he's going to be able to put it away, but as they're like distracting him, being like, "Listen, don't do it. Don't do the concerto. I promise. Hey, listen, we'll say it." And then that allows Stokely to get the distraction. Then Shatter Machine, Stokely's got the watch, looking like he's gonna, get the 2-on-1. But then Beth Copeland makes her return, shows up, and then immediately rushes to the ring to start getting into this. But Dax and Cash, they have some plans of their own. A little bit of a callback. Ironic that Mick Foley was on this card too, but they want to take care of Beth, and literally Beth gets shoved into the steel stairs, and then that's when Stokely has her on the apron. And as Cash is waiting, Dax lights a table on the outside on fire. Cash tries to spear Beth through the table, but misses and accidentally hits Big Stoke. They both go through the flaming table, and that would allow for Beth to end up low-blowing Dax Harwood, and then we got a great kick to the dick from Christian Cage after he teased a spear, and then Spike pile driver, and that would lead to the moment where they were going to close out the match with a submission. Beth finds Spike. They get Dax into a multi-submission where they're just shoving. They got the sleeper and the STF, and then they take the Spike and put it right across Dax's forehead, and he finally says, "I quit." Your brand new AEW World Tag Team Champions, Edge and Christian, Cope and Christian, Adam Copeland and Christian Cage.
Combined age of 150 years old. Yes. Dude, excellent fucking match. And like these type of matches in their losses is where I say you see FTR's greatness.
Yes.
I say that all the time. When they win, it's amazing. Don't get me wrong. I love them winning. But what made me a fan is their losses. Dude, Christian and Cope, it's like, name the Cope match that you really remember from this run, right? And, there hasn't been a lot of them, right? He's done really good, but, his memorable matches, these three matches are it, right? And, and it's like, when you are the bad guys, the heels, whatever word you want to use, the antagonist, to use the movie and TV terms that for it, your job is to make the good guys look amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And FTR, over these three matches, whether they've won, they've lost, they've tied, Cope and Christian have come out looking amazing in all those three matches. Now, whether you believe in stars, your thumbs up, you're just like, oh, that match was good or it wasn't, whatever your rating system is, these three matches have been at the top of it. All three of them. And they have been all three different, completely different, in different ways, and, like the first time they did the tag team match, tons of interference. Second match, not as much interference. And then, third match, they did the street fight, which it's not really interference. It's just part of the thing. And they feel like this is one of the better street fights you've ever seen. The second match was the best 2-on-2 match that Christian and Cope had ever had. Go through the history, go through the Attitude Era, go through it. I'm not talking about TLC. I'm not talking about a ladder match. Just look for Edge and Christian versus another team, 2-on-2 tag team match, and tell me the memorable one. Because guess what? You will be looking forever. Because they only tagged up like 2 years, and that's what they were doing right then. That wasn't the product they were presenting at that time. So they've come to FTR 20-something years later, and you're like, hey, we're still Cope and Christian, but we're not that Cope and Christian. So we need you to put us with two people that are going to take care of you and tell an amazing story. And who do you line up for that? FTR. When people were like, oh, this is the best the tag team division has been. And I'm like, FTR's on top. like, I don't know what else to say.
Yeah.
I truly believe the Young Bucks are an amazing tag team on the level of FTR. I think they're right there with them. But I think when it comes down to the strengths of each team, right? And I'll say the Young Bucks, to me, you just throw them in there with Bob and John from Arkansas, and they'll put on an amazing match with anyone, right? But when FTR, their strength, what makes them better is how well they make the other team look. And in this case, that's what they did for Cope and Christian. They gave them this memorable, it started in September. I don't know if it ends in May. Maybe they'll, I assume they'll wrestle again, but maybe not. If this trilogy is it, this is another trilogy in the lineage, which is FTR, and kind of the trilogy in the lineage, which is Cope and Christian, which is like, but when you look at FTR and you look at all the teams they face, they're always the consistent, and they always are great at making the other team look good. So I am very excited for what Christian and Cope are going to do with the tag belts. I've been saying for a month when we're not recording that this is going to lead to Cope and Christian versus the Young Bucks. And I remember when I, was predicting, they was like, my friend was like, I think FTR is going to win. And I was like, do you think there is a world, a universe, where the Young Bucks have Cope and Christian in their company and they don't have a match together? Do you think that's how the timeline works? No.
I don't think that's how that works.
That's not how this works. Cope and Christian and Young Bucks are gonna wrestle. And they gave you the foreshadow on a Dynamite after the last pay-per-view. And now you're getting the full on. And now I imagine that's what's coming soon. But this match was amazing. Cash, and the fact that they did it all without bleeding. And honestly, I didn't notice until the spikes. Because generally when they bring out Spike, they dig into your face and make you bleed. And they didn't go with blood, and I was wondering why. And then I heard afterwards. But I don't think it took away from the match. I think they did a great job doing the match despite the fact that they couldn't bleed. But I think it would have taken it maybe to another level if all of them were covered in red.
Oh, totally. We know with FTR, like getting some blood over that bald head of Dax, it sells it a lot more. So like it was something that we were like a little bit like, that's interesting. And then we found out, we're like, oh, I see. Okay, we got it. We figured it out.
Yes.
But yeah, an unreal opening match followed up by an unreal follow-up, basically. All of a sudden, Graphic shows up, and it's the International Championship match. The next match, Konosuke Takeshita versus Kazuchika Okada. Everyone lost their fucking mind. They're like, we're doing this now? Second match of the main card.
My friend looked at me, so Dave, I was with Dave Finishow, so he's like, we can leave after this, right? Because, literally, first two matches, my favorite tag team, my favorite singles guy. So, yeah, this was crazy that they decided to do this. And again, it's one of those situations I was thinking about after this, about card placement and stuff. On these AEW pay-per-views, there's really not a good place to ever be on the card. And they started with two bangers.
It's probably the best 1-2 punch that we've ever seen.
Correct.
For a pay-per-view, genuinely, like in terms of like opening match and then second match of the show. Like I can't think of another instance where a show started so good and then was followed up by an even better match. Like, and that's saying a lot, again, considering how strong that first match was. Like,
yes,
it was a strong match, and then you get, no big deal, the reason you bought tickets for this show.
Absolutely. And I'm ecstatic because I just want it. I just want it to be a one-on-one match. I am not an anti-interference guy. I actually like interference. I'm not an anti-weapon guy. I like weapons. But sometimes you see two people that are so excellent at what they do that you literally just want them to do their thing without any interference. Let two of the best wrestlers in the world. Like, if you're listing a top 20 and these two aren't in it, I don't want to listen to your list. You know what I mean? I just think they're both all-time great wrestlers, especially when they have another wrestler to get with. So, yeah, dude, this match was at 3 stars before it even started.
Legitimately. And then we go into this match, and, like, the crowd was, excuse me, like, the bell hadn't even rung yet, and the crowd was losing their minds over this. And again, reminder, because Floyd had to remind me because I forgot, this match has already happened technically in AEW.
Yep.
It's happened back 6 months ago.
Correct.
Doesn't matter. The crowd was still this absolutely emphatic for this match from the moment the bell rang. They felt each other out a little bit as it started to get going, but then as the match kicked into gear, we just saw the level of physicality and the level of work that these guys were putting into one another. Like, they basically worked a Japanese-style kind of New Japan match, and it was spectacular, dude. Like, it lived up to all of the hype that we wanted the match to be. And like you said, we just wanted these guys to have a no-frills, straight up, who is the better wrestler? Who is Michael Jordan and who is Scottie Pippen? Like, that's exactly what we wanted, and it's exactly what we got it. And there was moments where you thought maybe, Don Callis is being like, no, don't do this, because don't take it too far. And, like, they don't listen. Or, like, Takeshita dives onto Okada, and he's like, what are you doing? Like, stop being rough on him or whatever. And he's like, shut the fuck up. Like, it had the moment where you thought maybe, oh boy, here's where Don Callis fucks up the match or whatever. But it never happened. It never came. The spot that everyone's been sharing around that's been crazy is when Okada gets put into a package pile driver and then proceeds to get, like, lifted from the floor into a fall-away German suplex. Okada comes to his feet with fire, drop kick. Takeshita comes to his feet with fire and tries to hit him, and then spinning clothesline, and the crowd's just losing it at this point. And a really cool moment with this match, too, is the fact that it was pretty simple. Like, Okada looked for the Rainmaker multiple times and even hit it one time in a vicious way on the apron. It was the most damning spot that he had on Okada and on Takeshita in the match. He caught him on the apron, but he couldn't capitalize and actually pin him to finish him off. Every other time that he tried for the Rainmaker, he could hit slight variations of it where he didn't have the full wrist control pull into it. But every time he tried to go for the straight up, legitimate, no frills Rainmaker, Takeshita had it and was prepared and caught him and did his homework on a guy that have been together in the Don Callis family. There's a level of shared respect, but also hatred between both guys. And Takeshita finally is crowned brand new international champion. We'll get to the aftermatch stuff later, but, like, dude, I mean, I was blown away immediately. It's like, it's one of the best matches of the show, and it's, for a lot of people, it is their top match. I get it.
For me, it was my match of the night, and I do believe it was on a night where I'd say I had at least 3 5-star matches, based on that rating. Again, I know people get caught up in ratings, but you rate matches no matter what. Even if you say a match is good, that's a rating.
Yeah, I think it's between one or two other matches that are in there, but I think at this moment, I think it was my match of the night as well.
So we had 2 matches.
It was a big fight feel, dude.
Yeah, it was 2 matches, 2 legitimate, to me, 5-star matches. 2 of the best matches you've ever seen. And when it comes down to it, Takeshita was just better than Okada. And that was the thing, that Okada knew Takeshita was better. And that's why he was kind of avoiding him until he got pissed off. And he was like, well, he beat him that first time, and that even made him more overconfident that Takeshita couldn't beat him. And that's what led into this match. And we had that moment where Okada kind of got held back. He was about to hit the tombstone on the outside of the ring, and Don Callis came out, and he listened, and then he didn't hit the tombstone. But then when Takeshita had the chance to hit the brainbuster on the outside of the ring, he didn't listen to Don Callis. So it's like that subtle story that Don Callis held Okada back, and Takeshita finally broke the reins of Don Callis by defying his wrestling father. He defied him to his face, and we saw what that did. It broke Don Callis' heart. It broke his brain, because he thought he had Takeshita under his thumb, and in that brainbuster moment, Takeshita showed that he could not be controlled, and because he couldn't be controlled by Don Callis, he was able to finally do the thing that he's been wanting to do since Okada showed up, and that was beat Kazuchika Okada in the middle of the ring. 1, 2, 3.
Yep. It's just,
God,
so great. And
see, when people talk about wrestling, they were like, oh man, you can have amazing performances, and you can have stories, or AEW doesn't tell stories. They told that story, the story that you told, but they told it in the ring. They didn't have to look at their hands and say, why am I so violent? They didn't have to talk and, a lot of talk and stuff. It was like, because we couldn't hear it. We couldn't hear what was going on. I know the TV people heard it, but we couldn't. But you could tell in the body language. You could tell in everything that what they were communicating. Okada listened, Takeshita didn't. It's so beautiful. When people say AEW doesn't tell stories, I'm like, there's a difference between telling stories not telling stories and telling stories that you don't like, or not telling stories and telling stories you don't fucking understand. And if you say there was no story here, you just didn't understand, and that's fine. Yeah. You can go watch, you can go back to the kiddie pool, but we swim in the deep end over here.
Yes. There you go. Bam. He said he was going to spit hot fire when he came into this show, guys. I hope you know that. He said he was going to do that, and that's what he's doing. And then after the match, crowd is just like waiting in worry, as there's arguing a little bit with Takeshita, with the Don Callis family, and then the protostar Kyle Fletcher is back.
Dude,
huge return.
Dude, I was so excited to see him, but I knew what was coming.
Oh, I know. I was like, in my heart, I was just like, oh my God, I know exactly where this is going. But I was just like, no, don't do it, please. The Twitter, shared lovey-dovey, work wife stuff, man. I was like, we're going to lose this. They're so cute together. I can't deal with it, man. And Don Callis' family looks at him, and Fletcher kind of has them walk all out out of the ring, and then they embrace, holds his hand up, and then Takeshita gets dropped by Fletcher, and it's brutal. He takes Takeshita, proceeds to do a great moment too, where Fletcher is standing over him, and Takeshita is just his hand is outstretched towards him. And it's just kind of like, please, man, don't do this. Doesn't matter. Asshole chanter chanted out through him, but Fletcher, sheer drop brainbuster, takes the International Championship, and then they hit him in the face with it. Fletcher and Okada hug, and then they walk up the aisle while Takeshita is getting medical help. And I'm literally just like, again, it's such a heartbreaking thing because of how great they were together. The match they have is going to feed world countries, I swear to God.
I am so depressed because we were supposed to get Proto Okada versus FTR at some point. I wanted that so bad. And I feel like with this breakup, I mean, Proto Sheeta.
No Proto Sheeta.
But so it's funny. I've said this on my page, but I'll say it in the show. I've seen Takeshita wrestle a lot over the last 6 months. starting with World's End, which I flew to because Okada and Takeshita were wrestling, and he lost. Then January 4th, I went to Wrestle Kingdom to see Takeshita in the double main event. Took that L again. All right, okay. Then we went to Revolution, and he had a match with Ian Moxley, another 5-star match. Took that L. I was like, okay. Then went to Dynasty. Him and Okada versus the Young Bucks, another amazing match. Takeshita lost. He was on the losing team again. And I was like, God damn, I've seen this man wrestle live like probably more times in the last 6 months than like anybody. And this man cannot win a match. And so today, we talked about it. He pins Okada. I finally get a Takeshita win live. Amazing match. The match that I wanted. I still think they have a better match in them. Because I don't think it was as even. It was the idea is that in this case, Takeshita was clearly better. I would like the Rainmaker, New Japan character that he brought out at the end with Hiroshi Tanahashi. I would like to see that version versus Takeshita. So I think they even have a better match in them, right? That being said, he finally wins. And at the end of this, all I could think is the Thanos meme.
Yep.
And like, what did you get? Did you get what you wanted? Yes. What did it cost you? Everything. He lost his wrestling husband and his wrestling dad all in the same night.
Heartbreaking.
Yes.
Just heartbreaking.
His wrestling family. So I did have to say after this match beautifully, I had to formally I did on Twitter, so that makes it formal and official. I had to relinquish my loose ties to the Don Callis family and Don Callis because of this unprovoked heinous attack.
Yep.
Because after the win, the belt was still in the Don Callis family.
Mm-hmm.
There was really no reason. Don Callis, you did not lose any money from Takeshita winning. The belt stayed where it was. Financially, a business decision. This wasn't a business decision. This was a control decision.
Yes, it was.
He couldn't control Takeshita. So he's like, if I can't control you, I don't want you.
Mm-hmm.
So it's depressing. I got teared up. I couldn't sleep. Because this was
really heartbreaking.
I'm like, the real love of Takeshita's life was Don Callis. And the bald man broke his heart. And then his guy, his Fletcher. Yeah, this is a very successful and depressing night for Takeshita. There's a picture of him sitting on the stairs with the international belt, with his head down. And I was like, I don't know who took the picture, just one of the AEW people backstage. And I was like, in one picture, they caught the triumph and the tragedy of Takeshita's night. And I thought it was just a beautiful picture.
Yes. But yeah, we moved now into the first Owen match that we had of the night, which was the women's tournament quarterfinal between Mina Shirakawa and the forever Ring of Honor Women's World Champion, Athena. Bit of a come down after the back-to-back mega matches that we had to open the show, but they still absolutely killed it. It was funny. We were with our...
Go ahead. No, you go.
I was just going to say, we were with our boy Tom Grossi, Packers fan extraordinaire, and he was right behind the announcer's table for the show, and he made the joke, basically, he's like, AEW is literally not going to let me pee with how many like back-to-back-to-back bangers that this show had. Eventually, he had to choose one of the women's matches as his bathroom break, and it was the world title one because he's like, literally, I can't. I've been holding it as much as I can.
The world title match, and this is some expert mode for people going to it. If you don't know when you can go to the bathroom, any fatal four-way or any match where there's a lot of entrances.
That's exactly why he chose it, was because of all the amount of entrances.
Because I went peed, got a pretzel, went peed and came back, and the bell hadn't even rang. The last person was still coming in.
Yep, that's kind of what he decided on with that, and it was timed out pretty well for him.
Yeah.
But I will say this match was good. I did think Mina still had some great reactions. Athena especially, though, like people, I think it's just because seeing Athena wrestle on AEW pay-per-views, it's not a common occurrence with her being the forever Ring of Honor World Champion. So people were excited to see her. She looked great. Her drop kick to Mina on the outside into the LED railing was great. The way that the board then just started to glitch out because of it, inspired touch, really good touch. Excuse me. Athena showing off her strength, lifting her up, and just slamming Mina to the ground, really showing that strength of hers. Mina's dive to the outside scared the shit out of me, where she does her springboard over the top and then tornado twists herself in midair. She was so close to the apron, I swore that she smacked her head at some point.
Most people don't realize how much their personal information is being bought and sold every day. Data brokers are making billions pulling details about you from public records and the internet, and then packaging and selling it, usually without your consent. That's how your information lands in the hands of scammers, spammers, even stalkers. It's why you get endless robocalls and why ads seem to follow you everywhere. That's where Aura comes in. Aura actively removes your data from broker sites and keeps it off. They also instantly alert you if your information shows up in a breach or on the dark web. But Aura goes beyond data protection. With one app, you get a VPN, antivirus, password manager, spam call protection, dark web monitoring, and even up to $5 million in identity theft insurance, all backed by 24/7 US-based fraud support. Other companies might sell just credit monitoring or just a VPN. Aura gives you all of it, together, at the same price competitors charge for just one service. Start your free trial today at aura.com/remove. Protect yourself now at aura.com/remove.
It scared the piss out of me. Athena was selling the knee as well, really well in this match. And I to the point I literally leaned over to Sydney. I'm like, either Athena's selling her ass off or she's legitimately hurt. But I think she was just selling her ass off. But either way, Athena, after fighting her way through, hits the O-face, gets the win, and she advances in the tournament. Like I said, really solid match. A nice palate cleanser. The first of the tournament quarterfinals. I thought this match was really solid.
All right. So I do want to say this. After I thought about it, I had this idea why the show was going on, and after I thought about it, it would have been bad because it was a pay-per-view, and there's a quality expected, a length expected on pay-per-views. But when it comes to Athena, you have this built-in 1,200-day champion, old dominant. Anytime the ROH title is on the line, she's unstoppable, right? And you have Toni Storm out, right? Mercedes hasn't been here in a while. So you have this, Willow's injured. You have this gap at the top of the women's division. And you have this perfect person to put into the gap of the women's division, Athena, right? She has this amazing winning streak. I personally, and again, because of the quality of pay-per-view, it wouldn't have worked. But if you maybe move this match to Dynamite, I think she should have dominated her. I think they should have just had her fucking destroy Mina. Beat her really quickly and build that Athena is this unstoppable monster going forward. It was just, it honestly, some people's like it was short. I felt like it was a little long because you've put all this work into Athena. 1,200 days. She's beaten so many people in ROH multiple times, right? She's beaten literally everybody you set out there. To me, she's pretty much owned Mina Shirakawa. Just have her dominate her. Like, dominate her. I'd have her pretty much easily go through the rest of this tournament. And then you could either have her win it, right? And it's like, build her up as this superstar, as the Athena, because I think the work has been done. It's just the follow-through now when it comes to Athena. And of course, I am an Athena fan. I do like Mina. But I don't think losses hurt Mina. That's not really her thing.
Yeah, not really, honestly.
Yeah, they don't hurt Mina. Mina gets destroyed. She comes out the next day, does her dance stuff. Everybody's cheering like crazy. So I think she's a perfect person that you could squash, and it wouldn't hurt her, and you could use it as a story later when she's finally getting better enough to beat Athena. But again, there is a standard that AEW has set on their pay-per-views, so I don't think a squash would have worked in this case. But that was my thought process. Watching the match after the match was like, man, this should have been squash. But squashes pretty much aren't acceptable for AEW pay-per-views. That's not.
No, it's not kind of a thing.
Yeah, that's not how they roll. So it wouldn't have made sense. It wouldn't have. It was like, oh, it's a great idea. And then I came to my own conclusion it wouldn't have made sense.
Yeah, they want them to have good, solid matches that like feel like they are worth their time. So.
Yeah, Dynamite or Collision, absolutely, she could squash it.
Sure,
not on a pay-per-view.
Sure,
not on a pay-per-view.
Yeah. We then go to the Continental Championship match. No time limit for this one. Jon Moxley defends his title against Kyle O'Reilly. Now, Floyd. Of course, you're not the biggest Kyle fan.
Dude, I'm not the biggest fan of this match. I could never see these two men wrestle again, and I would be okay. So, yeah. And, yeah, I imagine a lot of people enjoyed this. I wasn't. Their styles. And then the ending, I was like, oh, so we did all this for him to get tapped out on his own move? All right. I'm going to let you talk because I don't want to bury it. But I don't want to bury it because it's just not my taste. There's no reason for me to go off on it because it just doesn't follow my sensibilities.
Right.
It's just, Kyle O'Reilly's playing white toast to me. I actually love Jon Moxley. He's not the problem in this particular case. But he does work. When he works with Kyle O'Reilly, he works Kyle's style. And
yes.
Yeah. So do you, sir?
Okay. Well, first of all, I will say Kyle O'Reilly coming out with the backpack, very much conglomeration style, like he's going to school, is a funny thing that I enjoy. I would love it if Briscoe, for whatever reason, had a backpack. It would make me laugh. Also, something I didn't realize until like looking online, JR was on commentary for this match. Didn't even know he was there.
They didn't announce him. They didn't do anything.
They didn't make any sort of thing about it at all. I was like, oh, shit. Fucking JR. God damn. But yeah, no. As the match kind of went, they were kind of just, again, feeling out a process. There was a moment where, like, you could just see, like, you knew this match going into it was going to end with a submission. It was like, it could have been called a submission match. And, like, people would have, like, just believed it because, again, that's how this thing was going to go. Fletcher had his knee worked on a little bit early on. There's a moment where Moxley bites onto Kyle Fletcher's eye. I'm just like, because of course. But the biggest thing was that Kyle consistently was trying to find a way to lock in a submission. After there's a great moment where he almost gets dragon screwed and he then ties him up into an arm bar. But the whole thing was basically chasing after that ankle lock at all times. Kyle O'Reilly was consistently trying to get that ankle lock any chance he could get. And the crowd treated it very well where they popped pretty loud whenever that ankle lock was put in because they knew the importance of that move in this story. It's like they made sure to remind everybody. Great moment where Kyle's got it, and then Moxley rolls him out, and they both got an ankle lock on each other. But in the end, as things shake out, like you said, Moxley firing himself up for the whole thing. They're striking each other, but Moxley then proceeds to go hit the Bulldog choke, but O'Reilly is able to still back into the ankle lock. They both get that double ankle lock in. Moxley then gets out of it, takes him over, and after he had worked on the leg for the entire match, that allows him to get the tap-out win for himself. Death Riders come out, Agglomeration comes out, Moxley and Kyle shake hands, show respect, big ovation, It was a really good match, honestly. I appreciate the moments where we get to see Moxley working a legitimate, straight up, well put together wrestling match that isn't like focused on plunder or blood or, what people think is all that he can do. I'm not even the biggest Moxley guy, and I can say that like he did his thing in this match. And Kyle, again, crowd was into it. I can't deny that Kyle is consistently like in this feud built himself up to a level of excitement for that the crowd has for him. Not for Floyd, obviously, but I enjoyed this a lot. I can't say that I'm like Floyd where I'm like totally against this match. I don't need to see it again. I would like to think that this is now like kind of the closing book on this story now that Mox has his win after losing twice to him. So hopefully
he tapped him out with his own move. If that doesn't mean that is the geek of all geek.
Exactly.
In wrestling, that is the geek of all geek. He did your move on you better than you. Mm-hmm. What kind of bullshit is that? And I was just like, I didn't want Kyle O'Reilly to win, but I felt like Kyle O'Reilly winning was the only way the end of this story made any sense. And to then get tapped out to your own move. I mean, shout out to Kyle O'Reilly for willing to do it. I imagine a lot of wrestlers would be like, that didn't work for me, brother. But he did it. So I have to give credit where credit's due there. But yeah, if I never see another Kyle O'Reilly singles match, I will be okay. Shout out. Like I said, this is one of those situations where I have to remind you, I am just talking about the wrestler and the character. Because people, the fans out there, like make it personally like I don't like the guy. I don't know the guy. Every time I've met him in the airport a couple times, seems swell. Everybody seems to have great things to say about him. I just don't like the way he performs his job. It's not personal at all.
You really don't like this man.
They don't like, dude, people act like I want to fight him in the streets. I don't. I just don't want to see him wrestle. It's really not personal.
Seems personal to me, man. I don't know what it is.
Again, I know, right? Because people be like, I have to defend the Kyle O'Reilly. You really don't have to defend. You're defending him against my particular taste. Mine. Just mine. I understand that people like him. I don't.
Yes. We go in now to the first men's tournament quarterfinal match of the night for the Owen. Will Ospreay versus Samoa Joe. God damn, if Will Ospreay is not the fucking best goddamn wrestler on the planet every fucking time he does this. And I'm so glad out of the injury, dude has not lost a fucking step.
And I know Samoa Joe said he's going to retire in a few years, but I think because of his style, he could work till he's like 60.
That's what I'm saying,
it wouldn't be a problem. If he wants to be like the new Minoru Suzuki, no problem, because guess what? He's just believable, and everything.
He's never lost that. He never lost that level of like the idea that like he could always be considered a main event guy, even if he's not in the main event for long periods of time. Like he wins the world title, and it just makes sense.
You see him in the dark element, and you walk the other way. That's like he has.
You see him, and you think main event, immediately.
Dude, and it was just like, I was like, I don't know. I remember, like, they announced this match, and Tony Khan said it was a dream match, and I was like, I don't know. And it's just like, I'm going to have to stop doing that, because Samoa Joe never disappoints me in a wrestling match. He just doesn't. And Will Ospreay is, when it comes to in-ring, probably the best wrestler on the planet. And that reaction from the fucking crowd when he came out, Ospreay.
God,
dude, again, might have been just acoustics, and I don't know how it came out on TV because
I heard that people were like the crowd was going crazy,
and they go crazy. He's the guy. He's the guy you build the company around.
Yes,
I know I'm an MJF guy, and I think he's your top. I think he's the top bad guy in the company when you're telling the story. But the top good guy, the top face in the company, dude, all you have to do is listen. It's Will Ospreay. It's a whole different crowd reaction. It's a whole different crowd investment. It's a whole different anything. Anytime he's in the ring, no matter who he's in the ring, the person he wrestles gets elevated just by being in the ring with him. That is the person you put your cart behind. And I will be clear, Will Ospreay's not my favorite wrestler. This is me being as impartial as possible, just listening and looking. He feels different. He feels like it felt originally when you're going to AEW shows and Cody would come out, right? Or Kenny would come out. He feels like he's on that level, like he is truly the face of AEW. And I'm saying this came through before they even touched each other.
Exactly. And they went right out of the gate, too, because Joe comes out with his entrance and immediately jumping off the ropes is Will Ospreay with an Oscutter. Like, off rip. Started out immediately fast. Springboard dive into the outside and everything like that. Joe choking him out every chance he gets, trying to avoid. Doing his nope spot with the Oscutter. Like, it's just so fucking good, dude.
That nope spot, dude, forever. And I don't know if it's Yuta. I don't know if it's Garcia. He has to pass that down to one of his young boys. I don't know.
My God, yeah.
He has to pass it. Maybe the Hook. Maybe Hook just moves out the way. Maybe Anthony Bowen starts using it. Somebody has to do that after he's done. Whenever he's done with it. I'm like, wait till he's done with it. But somebody has to keep that going because it's the look on his face, the way he walks away, everything about it is just like, this can't be lost to wrestling history. It has to keep going.
Yes. And just, again, Joe being such an outstanding base. I could not believe seeing Will Ospreay lifting up Samoa Joe for the Styles Clash. It was just an insane moment right there. Like, and then again, hidden blades, the great reversal out of the Muscle Buster. Like, I don't know how you do that. Like, I don't know how does somebody do that? And like, I think it's the only time that we've seen something like that with that move and getting out of it. And Ospreay just does it once and he does it effortlessly. I don't even know, man. I don't even know. It's the damnedest thing with Ospreay is just how he's able to do this. And he's so spectacular. Joe, again, like I said, was fantastic as always. It was great. It was so goddamn good. It was so good. And then, of course, Will Ospreay, unsurprisingly, gets the victory, which teases into what we're probably going to get in the final, which will reference what we get for the quarterfinal match that followed this one.
Yeah, this was a great match. Honestly, if you're a rating guy, it wasn't a 5-star match, but it was just a solid, very entertaining match that, they could do again any week on Dynamite, and it would just be as solid and just as entertaining. And the key thing was, with the energy that was built up, could you keep it going? And this match absolutely kept it going.
Oh, yeah. And the energy didn't stop there either. We go right into the other quarterfinal match of the night for the Owen. Swerve Strickland versus the Ring of Honor World Champion, Bandito. All I have to say is, the moment where Swerve gets lifted up onto Bandito's shoulders and he hits a house call off of his shoulders. What the fuck?
I mean, dude, Swerve is one of those things. Like, unfortunately, he's one of the best wrestlers in the world, right? And he should be in the main event in the world title picture at all times, right? But Will Ospreay is in this. Kenny Omega is here. MJF is here. Like, all these people that are just as good and as exciting as them. It's like the top of the card of AEW is so fucking stacked that sometimes somebody this great kind of gets lost in the sauce a little bit. And then he comes back with a Bandito who's just as fucking amazing in the ring.
Dude, exactly.
Yeah, dude, my match of the year was Bandito versus Takeshita last year.
Takeshita, yes.
Yeah, so they come in and they do shit you're not supposed to be physically able to do. You're just not. You're just not supposed to do what they did. The standing on the shoulder, the kick in the head. You're not supposed to be able to do that.
No.
That is live action superhero shit. And when people are like, this was fake. Okay, do it.
Yeah, do a reverse Hurricanrana off of the apron onto the floor. Do that.
Yeah, because the word...
And try not to die.
The word fake doesn't mean easy, bro. Like, they say it to try to take away from it, but you couldn't take away from this match. I saw people saying it was the match of the night, and I couldn't argue with it.
No, I was
literally saw something that I didn't think could be done in the match.
It's such a tough one too, dude. Because when I first saw it, I honestly thought it was better than the Ospreay match. I still think it might be, but I go back and forth with it because, like, I mean, the moment where Swerve has Bandito like around his legs and around his waist, and then Bandito jumps up and Ranas him and spikes him on the top of his head in such a vicious way. It's just ridiculous. But eventually, Swerve reverses the 21 plex, a great reversal into the vertebraker, and then we get...
it made so much sense once he did it, but I would have never thought of it.
Exactly. And then house call, finish it off, Swerve Strickland moves on in the Owen.
Yeah. Like, motherfucking...
It was... Bro.
Yeah, the back of the shirt says it. So we're the best wrestle, and it's just like this match was like, this is... I've seen two amazing matches. This is a middle of the show match that literally stole the show.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like online afterwards, and I've seen amazing matches all through the night, and people are talking about Swerve and Bandito. That's the match everybody wants to talk about. How did they pull that off? How did they do it? Cool. Yeah. Again, the story was there for the non-story people. Swerve put that he was chasing Bandito a few weeks ago. He's the most dangerous man. He wants the most wanted man. And, of course, he's the most violent man. All of it's there. Whether you like it or not, whether you understand it or not, it's there. This is a beautiful match, dude. Like, dude, it's like, they got one. I was like, this was the match. So we're watching and we're kind of going through what's next. I forgot this match was on the card, and it's probably that spot is I won't forget it. Dude, between the standing on the shoulders and doing the kick and then hitting the house call and the reversing of Bandito's finisher into a vertebraker, yeah, I'll never forget. I'll never forget those two.
Nope, I won't either. We go into the Women's World Championship 4-way, Tekla versus Jamie Hayter versus Hikaru Shida versus Chris Statlander. The bulk of this match was honestly the Chris Statlander and Shida like whole thing with their friendship kind of being on loose ground and how it was something that was not likely to last very, very long. I will say, I have a request in this match that I wish would have happened. Because obviously there was a moment where like a pin was broken up, and that was where Chris Statlander was like, "How could you do this?" Like arguing with her and stuff like that. And I'm like, I never like it when you have two friends or two partners go into a 4-way and then they break up one pin, and then all of a sudden it's just like, what the fuck, dude? Because again, somebody has to win.
It makes no sense because they know the rules of the match going into the match.
Exactly. So that's how it goes.
Of course I'm going to try to get the pin.
If they would have saved Statlander's freak out for after the match when she got, before the match was over, she gets hit with her kendo stick, and then she fucking goes off on her because she's like, listen, I understand we don't have to work together, but what the fuck was up with you using the kendo stick? Like, that was excessive right there. Like, she has a reason to be pissed about that one specifically.
Yeah.
So that was the only thing that I had that was like specifically like, man, I wish they would have like actually, did that. I did love the fact of like her being like, let's go, guys. Like Tekla immediately off jump, and then everyone, all the people she called dumb bitches proceed to just kick her in the chest and zone in on her to start things off. Tekla had a great dive to the outside. Tekla was talking a whole bunch of shit, too, in the match as it was going on. And I especially loved how Tekla goes and does her spider thing and then gets picked up into a tombstone. And it's just a really, really great counter. Just being able to grab her straight from the bridge into a tombstone position. Didn't hit it though, but it was still really, really good. But eventually, Tekla, because of the back and forth between Shida and Chris, hits the stomp and proceeds to finish things off on Hikaru Shida and retains the AEW Women's World Championship. Strong match. I know it's one of those ones that's just, again, the carrying of the match story-wise was Shida and Statlander, but everyone got their chance to do some really good stuff. Jamie Hayter still is... She's getting back to what we all remember Jamie Hayter as, in terms of her being such a mainstay in the top of the women's division. I think she's finally starting to get that mojo back since she's been with the Brawling Birds with Alex Windsor. Her gear was spectacular. It was one of her best gear nights that she's had in a while, I will say. So shouts out to the Glam team and everything like that. But yeah, it's a very, very solid match. And the crowd was
clearly behind her. Behind Jamie Hayter. Yeah. And then, I thought Tekla was especially good, but this match was a storyline match. It's like, this match was about the story of Chris Statlander and Shida. It even leads to a match at Dynamite. That's how much this match was about the story. I didn't think anybody thought Tekla was going to win. Lose. I was hoping someone came out after the match, because it just felt like we got a lot of returns and stuff, but I didn't feel like the women, and they gave a couple divisions a shot in the arm, and I thought the women's division could have used something. I don't know who it would have been, but they could have used something to get get people excited going forward.
Right.
Because literally Tekla just took out all of her challengers.
Well, they're missing their top baby faces, though, when you think about it.
Correct. And that's why I was like, I don't know what they could have done, but, it felt like the women's division in this match needed a little shot in the arm. But I did think this match was very well executed, and it did really get over Chris Statlander and Hikaru Shida having beef, because after a while, Shida just said, fuck it, and slapped her, and it was just like, oh shit, you shouldn't have did that. And one day, very, very, very soon, I will understand Chris Statlander's character. I don't. I think she's an exceptional wrestler. I think a clearly defined character sometimes is the reason that I think people haven't fully fallen into her. Even when she was the alien and all that stuff, people could get behind it because they understood who she was supposed to be. And I just don't think we understand Chris Statlander. So she still has a following. She's still exciting. She's still great to watch. But I truly believe there's another level of over for her. And I think that will come with a more defined character.
Yeah, I think so too. Once she gets the full understanding of what Chris Statlander is, I think it's gone. I think it's out of here at this point. If she can just get that character over with the crowd in a way, and maybe this storyline with Shida is the jumping off point with it. So
yeah, it's just to define. Even if it's I am the best women's wrestler in the world, and she says that, say it. Make me believe it. Come across in an interview, come across in a promo or something like that. Chris Statlander, sometimes if you'll listen to the show, it'll seem like I'm hard on it. I'm hard on her because I believe in her. And I just think there's a level that she's not hitting. And I can't tell her how to get there. I don't know wrestling well enough, but it feels like there's something missing. And I feel like she should be one of the faces of the women's division. And I truly don't believe she is, because I don't think the fan base can truly dive into who she is as a character. Like Toni Storm, I would have said the same thing about. And then she found Timeless Tony, and it was amazing. Willow's always had, just naturally, she didn't have to say really anything. But the smile anyway, everybody knows who she is. And I think if you ask even the most ardent Chris Statlander fans to say, tell me what her character is, I don't think she could.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they can. I've never talked to one. I don't know any ardent Chris Statlander fans, but if you are one, and you're listening to the show, and you have a full-fledged, what you feel like an understanding of a character, go ahead and shoot it to me. I would love to know what it is. In this case, I would love to be wrong, but I just don't think the crowd gets behind her as much as they could because they don't know who she is.
Right. So, but yeah, Tekla gets the retain, and then we move into the penultimate match of the card. The Stadium Stampede match. Let's get all these names. Chris Jericho, the Hurt Syndicate, the Young Bucks, Jungle Jack Perry, and Kenny Omega versus the Demand, Ricochet, Toa Leona, and Bishop Khan, the Dogs, Clark Connors and David Finlay, and the Don Callis family, Mark Davis, the national champion, and Andrade El Idolo. I didn't
realize how, I was going to say before we talked about the match, how lopsided it is on paper.
Oh my God, it's not even close.
Because you have AEW World Champion Chris Jericho, AEW World Champion Kenny Omega. You have National Champion, TNT Champion, Jungle Boy or whatever, and former tag team champion. You have the Young Bucks, one of the greatest tag teams of all time. Hurt Syndicate never even lost their tag belts.
Nope.
They won them and never lost. I don't think there's ever been a more pushed group of 7 against another group of 7 where pretty much everybody on that match except Andrade loses pretty fucking regularly.
Yes.
It was crazy when you thought about it, and then they did the match. So let's talk about the match. Go for it.
Yeah, so this match was stupid as hell, but it was a lot of fun.
Dude, live, you can't keep up with it.
You can't.
If you are in a building for one of these, the first thing you have to do when you get home is watch it on TV. Because no matter which way you're looking, you're going to miss something. Because there's things happening in 14 different places.
Yep. Just not in the crowd per se, because again, they couldn't do that.
Yes.
But they
worked around the restrictions.
They had some workarounds.
They worked around the restrictions really, really well.
I agree.
Yeah.
So of course the match gets underway with just the full-on brawl. The entrance videos, by the way, I will say, with the teams, outstanding. I will say those were great.
Dude, Kenny Omega thing.
He got almost made pop when he showed up, and then he starts doing the smoking, and then starts choking. Funny.
He starts choking. I think I missed the next 2 minutes. I was laughing so hard.
It was so funny.
So real, because the dude, he doesn't smoke. If you, that's not really his thing. So, yeah, that's how really people that smoke for the first time would react. And that was fucking amazing. Such and so subtle. It was great. Yeah. Oh, dude, I've never smoked anything. So, no, that's exactly how it would be.
Yep. Toa Leona, dude, one of the big spots of the match, he had fucking... I would say 3, but it's more like either 2.5 or 2 people on his back, because he had the Young Bucks and Jack Perry on his shoulders and did the Samoan drop to all 3 of them. Again, it's incredibly impressive. Toa Leona doing his thing, but having Jack on your shoulders doesn't really add much else weight to it. In fact, it probably subtracts to it.
If you watch back, I think if you wanted a star of that team, it was Toa Leona.
He did his damn thing with that.
It was the most spots I remember from that side came from him.
It's crazy, man. He was fired up in this match for sure. The big moment too was when we had some dives to the outside. Shelton Benjamin showing off and doing his thing, but then they had the most insane moment with Shelton diving out to the outside, but then they also had Bobby dove to the outside too, I'm pretty sure at one point. I was just like, what the fuck do you mean he dove to the outside?
Well, you mean talking about Shelton? I
didn't know because it was hard for me to tell if it was Bobby who dived to the outside or if it was Shelton, because I thought Bobby maybe dove to the outside and I was like, fucking how?
All blackball people do not look alike, sir.
Well, they both are wearing white fucking button-up shirts and black pants.
One is
again, it's one of those things. I have not watched this match back on TV, so I couldn't tell.
Yeah, one is literally Shelton Benjamin. So yeah,
I'm aware.
You see the guy fly over the top rope without touching it, it's probably Shelton Benjamin.
Oh, I know. Like I said, that's what I thought too.
Yeah,
but again, Lashley. Some people. I will tell you, I was not the only one who thought that might have been fucking Bobby Lashley.
Let me just say this: the day Bobby Lashley does that, I will be like, I will actually be silent, which I don't think you think is possible.
Truly. So we then get into more parts of the match. Jack Perry doing his fucking grabbing something full of smoke and then slamming it into Mark Davis. Fighting to the outside. All of a sudden, Leo Rush makes a rare appearance and like scares the piss out of Bobby Lashley as he's weirded out.
Yeah. A little throwback to their time together in WWE. Little
bit.
Yeah.
Yep. There's a moment where Clark Connors got super kicked by the Bucks and is slowly rolling his way up on the escalator as he falls down. Such a good moment. What I especially love, one of my favorite spots, was Andrade doing his thing, has the baddies next to him, and is just like getting ready to get the pictures with the sexy ladies, and then you see fucking Luchasaurus with a wig on jumping into the selfie and just confusing the fuck out of Andrade. It was so funny. And then he spits in his face. And I'm just like, oh, outstanding. Jericho brings out a bag. You think there's tax in there? Nope, you're absolutely wrong. It's tennis balls. Get it? Because we're at fucking the U.S. Open. Wild appearance from fucking Tommy Invincible. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, I know. I moment that I felt old. I had no idea who this man was. No clue. Like, no clue. I almost looked down to you and like, who the fuck was that? I looked at, because Journey, my friend Journey was sitting next to me and Dave. I was like, who the fuck is this guy? Why do I care? And then my friend Kendi was on the right and I was like, who the fuck is this guy? And we're all not young. I'm not going to call any women old. I know better than that. We're not young. So none of us knew who that guy was. I was like, that was for the young people. You knew who it was. There you go.
Yep, there you go. There was a great moment where Andrade gets shoved into Satnam Singh. I made the joke that I was like, Satnam's just trying to enjoy his food. And then right on cue, Andrade gets shoved into Satnam Singh. He's got food like right on his face. He screams food fight, and then everyone in catering just proceeds to start flinging food around. Fucking Jack somehow, for whatever reason, grabs another goddamn bag of onions, even though, like, what are they serving in catering that requires a bag of onions? He just grabs another one and smacks Mark Davis in the face with it. I don't understand this dude. Clark Connors then is proceeded to taken out and put into a shopping cart with a trash can over his head and is rolled down to the ring and then super kicked in the mouth with it. And then he gets thrown out of the fucking shopping cart into the ring apron, and it looked like it sucked, and it hurt so much. Then they get ricocheted to the backstage area, and the tennis balls that Chris Jericho had brought out into the ring, he proceeded to start shooting them at him with a service machine, and he's hitting him with a tennis racket. And then a little bit of a reunion between him and Luther, who provides him a massive tennis racket. And I'm just, again, this was when everything was getting unbelievably ridiculous. But the thing that everyone's been talking about with this match specifically was the fact that the spot of Mark Davis in the parking lot almost getting run over by Jack Perry's Jurassic Express bus was done live.
And someone called the police.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I love it. I love that. That is truly unreal that they did that spot live. And the fan video where someone's filming the ring in the arena, and then goes and looks outside and sees it happen live. That video is so fucking cool. Like, of somebody being able to catch that in the action.
Yes, that's awesome. Yeah, absolutely. I just think, yeah. And some people might say this is over the top. I don't need this in my professional wrestling. Cool. Fine. I'm not
different strokes for different folks.
Yeah, I'm not arguing with you. Again, just there's no point. It's like, you can like what you like. I like fun.
It was fun.
It was fun.
Very, very
it was fun and cool. I like my wrestling to be fun, and I like it to be cool.
The babyfaces obviously get the win. Like I said, it's one of
the
those
7-way super kick was awesome.
Yes, it was funny. But can I say, him getting all of those super kicks and Ricochet taking all the finishes, but still not doing the job and not getting pinned is a bit ridiculous.
Dude, that was so awesome. Shout out. Hey, Ricochet's the leader. His boy Khan took the bullet because that's what Khan's job
I know.
is.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Ricochet pulled Khan and Leona from ROH and off of TV back in catering and pulled them up, and they got on TV every week. And the least Khan could do is take the shot for him. And then Jericho hit the Jericho Salt, and it was amazing. And honestly, let's be real. If he pins Ricochet there, if he hits him with the Jericho Salt and pins him, is there more story to tell? Is there a reason to do the
No,
match?
then it's over.
Yes.
It's over. But here's the thing. I kind of want this to be over.
I don't want it to be over.
Okay, fair enough.
My demand, I'm throwing up the 3 right now. They're on TV every week. They're on TV every week. And I love it.
But I'm just saying. But
you know what happens to people after they work with Jericho?
They
go into like witness protection program because you never see them again.
I was just gonna say, so they get put on the list and then you never see them again.
Yes.
But last thing I want to say too is the one-winged angel through the table was fucking badass.
And it was a shout out to the first stadium.
Yes, it was. It was. And then Jericho with a very nice tribute to Sabu. I honestly didn't realize it. I just saw him flying through the air, and I was like, why did he jump through the table? Oh, Sabu. Okay.
He's such a good dude. It's like people, people just, you got to give Jericho his legends, dude. That's where he's at. He's in legend mode right now.
Yes,
so
he
just appreciate him because we don't know much longer we got him. So keep appreciating Jericho. Now, I'm not talking about the Jericho Appreciation Society, but as a person.
No, we don't need to do that.
Yeah, and everybody's like, I'm tired of Chris Jericho. I'm like, I'm not. I've never seen him go out there and truly believed he shouldn't be out there. He's always worked to the level of the around him. So to me, that's when I don't want to see you anymore. When it's a bunch of people having to do stuff because you can't do anything, yeah. I would be like, okay, maybe it's time to sit down. But Jericho's, he just did a fucking moonsault off the second rope. How many mid-50s guys can do that?
Not many. I can promise you.
Yes. So, I'm going to always appreciate Chris Jericho. He always has a spot in AEW in my heart.
There you go. Finally, we close things out. Main event. Hair versus title, Darby Allin versus Maxwell Jacob Freeman, MJF. Shout out to MJF for making Justin Roberts say his things and basically be like, he does not come from any of the shitty boroughs. And, bro, I mean, from the jump, Darby doing the suicide dive and then landing on the back of his head and, like, after he gets his feet caught on the ropes, vicious looking, scared the piss out of me. And then Max is just laughing into the camera as it happened. Ugh. It was such a fucking big match feel. Crowd was going crazy for this thing. Darby did the spot that made me fall in love with him, but also fear for his life, diving and trying to hit the coffin drop on the apron. Like, spot is so damn good. The package pile driver onto the steel steps was executed to such perfection by MJF, but they were also multiple times fighting to try to get that damn headlock takeover in this match.
The pin chain in the middle of the match.
1 2 1 2 1
so
2.
Beautiful.
Yep.
It was so beautiful. Yep. And I just said, good Lord, one day they're going to do this match. Maybe it's on a Dynamite. Maybe it's on a Collision. And someone's going to get the pin right there.
Yes.
And it's going to be amazing.
MJF tried to pull the cameraman to take the suicide dive from Darby. Kind of caught him, not fully, but kind of caught him. I did like how, like, watching it back, they did show it directly from the camera's point of view. I did like that though. And then of course the big thing was Darby. You saw the scaffolding on the main stage with the New York street like cover up thing, and Darby climbs the whole stage and dives through dives off the top rope through the table. And the best part is too, fucking hits the spot, but then the goddamn barbershop chair that was there, he bangs the back of his head on it and then busts himself open.
Well, yeah, I saw his head was red on that. Yeah. See, live by the barber chair, die by the barber chair.
Yes, I appreciated him doing the bang bang too. So good. But basically, Darby, unable to hold the Scorpion Deathlock, grabs the back of his head and he fades down. And then Max with a pile driver off of the second rope. Tombstone pile driver off of the second rope. And then headlock takeover. New and 3-time AEW World Champion Maxwell Jacob Friedman, MJF. Floyd can finally celebrate the end of, and I'm sorry, stay mad, Darby with one of the best AEW World Title reigns of all time.
You know what? I'm glad it's over. That's all I needed. Hey, y'all can think whatever you want about that title reign. Thank God I never have to think about it again. I survived the 9 weeks. Now we got a real man as the champion. A guy that's only going to defend the title against people that actually earn title shots, not be throwing them around like some title shot slut. The guy that raises the prestige of this title. See, in some people, the belt makes the man, Darby Allin. Sometimes the man makes the belt, MJF. That is the guy that you want at the top of your company, looking down on all the pores, letting them know that he is better than everybody else. Curtain to curtain, the best wrestler in the world. He's the guy that you want going to independence, holding your title, letting him know that one day if they work really, really, really hard, they could work really, really, really hard and get to lose to MJF. So that is where we're trying to get to. That's what we're trying to do for him, is that we're trying to build him up to one day that they can live their lifelong dream of getting pinned by MJF.
Well, there you go. Outstanding main event. I think the only thing that I've heard that maybe could be considered, like, I guess maybe a critique was that the match could have gone longer. But, like, outside of that, I really don't have much to complain about with the match. I thought it was outstanding. But, Floyd, I know you're happy that Darby's title reign is over. But the match itself, like, kind of what was your thoughts of it?
It was an amazing match. And see, this is like, it's one of those things that, I'm going to overthink it for a little bit. Overthink it. Where I felt like his win against MJF wasn't a true elevation because they didn't have a full-on match and then Darby beat him. It just came off his luck. And then it was like, oh, they had a full-on match, and guess what happens? MJF just beat him. Now, they did, from what I understand, from talking to a few people that watched it, they did a good job on commentary, getting over the fact that the reason Darby was down is because he had been pressing himself so hard. And it really does work well with his character that he would foot to the gas no matter what. But it was just like, for me and my sensibilities on what a world title should be, it went against it. Now, I always say this, and I don't blame it on it. I'm older, right? So it was just like the world title wasn't defended every week growing up, maybe during the Attitude Era. And, so it didn't necessarily rewrite, but the way that MJF just won, he tombstoned him off the top rope. They got it over he took a tombstone off the top rope. He has to get out on a stretcher. So in this match, he took both a package pile driver on steps and then a tombstone off the second rope. Yeah, your neck's going to need to get looked at after that. And they did a good job. And MJF was the perfect dick in this situation. So it was funny. Somebody was like, I don't like when the title's getting hot potatoed. And I was like, this is when people shouldn't use terms they don't fully understand.
Exactly.
Because guess what? During the height of wrestling period, the hottest period in probably American history, the Attitude Era, between 99 and 99, the world title changed 18 times on television or paper.
What was the longest reign? Like, I can't imagine the longest reign was longer than, like,
yes,
maybe 7 months.
Yes. Today, 7 years into AEW, that was the 18th title change in AEW history. 7 years, 18 title changes.
Yeah.
2 years, 18 title changes.
There you go.
Sometimes when you're trying to tell a story and you're trying to keep your show interesting, yeah, you're going to do shorter reigns. You know, you might do shorter reigns because this is a television product. This is a TV show. You need people to have a reason to tune every week. So yeah, right now we're going through a little period where the title reigns, like title changes are a little shorter. When you have that guy that you think you can carry, you'll probably do another long title reign. It's like when Tony Khan said in the press conference, the 3 biggest box office draws as world title champions are MJF, Jon Moxley, and Kenny Omega, right? And It's just like within the year, you know, MJF and Jon Moxley have both held the title. A lot of people think Kenny Omega might be holding it soon. So this is the thing I don't like when fans do. So they have decided Kenny Omega's winning soon, which he may or may not. I don't know. I'm going to wait and see. And they start counting that as a title change, even though it hasn't fucking happened yet.
Right, exactly.
Oh, now we're going to have Kenny Omega and then Will Ospreay? Who said that? Because you read it somewhere online that might happen? You're already counting it as title changes. You've already decided you don't like it. Get the fuck out of here. Get out. Don't listen to my show. If you happen to be listening to the show and you're the person who put it, stop. Press stop. Delete me. Unfollow me. I don't want your download. Just get the fuck away from me.
Yeah. We then go to the final moments of the show where Max is posing on Darby Allin's chest as he got stretchered out of the ring. Then all of a sudden Max gets chased off by Kevin Knight, the TNT champion, and then Kevin Knight, the Jet, turns heel and springboard dives onto Darby Allin and shoves him over while he's still attached to the gurney.
Dude.
Max looking stunned up top at the ramp and then starts laughing as Kevin Knight turns on Darby Allin.
So this is crazy because I don't know if you remember this. I had lost my phone.
Yes, you did.
Because as far as my head was considered, the show was over. And so I'm looking for my phone as people are leaving. And then all of a sudden you see flying through the air out of my peripheral vision. I'm like, what the fuck just happened? Now I look at the screen and it's like Kevin Knight had just turned heel. God dang. I was like, dude, did not see that coming at all.
Yep.
Looking for the explanation. I have said on this show, and I've told this if I haven't said it where it was recorded, that Kevin Knight had more of a heel energy.
Oh, for sure.
How he promos, calling himself the Jet, which is, speaking in third person or whatever. And like The Rock. And it was like, and it's like the Jet 2 belts, the Jet this, the Jet this. It all came off very heelish. And I thought it was like, oh, he's too cool or whatever. And then they did this, and I was like, okay, I wasn't the only one that saw it. It's like when people see what you see, you like that moment. And yeah, he turned on Darby, and this more solidifies that Darby Allin will not be in my world title picture for the foreseeable future. So I am very, very, very happy. This pay-per-view couldn't have ended any better for me.
I was gonna say you were living it up after you found your phone when you dropped it.
Yes, after I found my phone, life was good.
That was AEW Double or Nothing 2026. What is now on Cage Match as of right now is now the second highest AEW rated show ever and the highest rated AEW pay-per-view of all time.
Yeah.
With a 9.66 as of this recording on Cage Match. Beating out AEW All Out 2021.
Do not throw that number out there too much for people because WWE fans will go on there and tank the rating to try to bring it down.
Of course they will.
Because that plays a lot into these.
The site has moderators, though. So.
Thank God. And I just say this. I love the show. It was probably the best show I saw this year. I mean, okay, there was a show where MJF won and FTR won. That's always going to be pretty high on me. And then, of course, I went to Wrestle Kingdom this year. So I've had a pretty good year. But this show, I have been a big person of AEW pay-per-views need to be shorter. I will say this. Yeah, I've been to the last 6 or whatever. This is the first time at no point in the show that I was looking at my watch oh, is this almost over? I think they timed it well. They paced it well. Whatever they did for this show was the absolute sweet spot because I never felt bored in the show.
Yeah, no, I wasn't either. I literally loved everything about this show. I don't know if it's going to beat out All Out 2021 just for the memory that show gave me. But in terms of bell-to-bell wrestling, it's the best night of wrestling that I've ever seen in a pay-per-view ever.
Yeah.
Truly.
So when I put it in the Pantheon of Double or Nothings, to me it was the one where we came back from the pandemic. It was the first one, the one we came back from the pandemic, and then this one. And I truly would believe the first one's always going to be the first one in my heart. That'll always be number 1, Double or Nothing. But this, to me, is absolutely number 2. It has passed the after the pandemic Double or Nothing, where the crowd was absolutely insane. It has passed the CM Punk beating Hangman Double or Nothing for me, even though I was very happy with the result. And then FTR came out at the end with CM Punk. It's passed a lot for me. But again, yeah, this is just this is the show. This is the show from the beginning to the end that I want to show a fan that watches other wrestling. And I'm not talking specifically WWE or anything, just other wrestling. And I want to show them and say, this is AEW. This is the product. This is what you should expect on pay-per-views, weekly shows, just really athletic exhibitions with amazing stories attached to it. That's what AEW is. We're the best wrestle. I never felt that. I never wanted to fly that flag as hard and as high as I did after I watched the show Sunday. And absolutely this venue or Arthur Ashe, to me, should be, if they decide to do a WrestleMania show, that's where it should be.
Yeah. Oh, 1,000%.
Because you only got, when you're in Arthur Ashe, you only got to get 20,000. You don't got to get that astronomical, 40, 50,000 number. You'll get 20-something thousand. But the way the building is, it is so loud. I have been in shows with more people that wasn't as loud or came through as well as this show did.
Oh, no, 1,000%. I am curious, though, again, it was asked of TK if he's ever able to somehow, some way get MSG.
Yeah.
Because if that happens, that's going to be a moment that's a fucking, oh.
I tell you this now. I don't try to do first row every time. Like I said, I'd rather go with people than sit first row. They do MSG, back up the Brinks truck, take out all the loans, go into the deepest depths possible. I will be at the first row of that show. I don't know if it'll ever happen, but if it does, I don't care if I have to drag my 87-year-old carcass down the fucking ring. I will be in the first row of that fucking show because MSG is MSG. To me, I know MSG means a lot to certain people, but when you were born in the early 80s with the birth of what WWF, which is modern day WWE, they built up everything was about the Garden, right? And I went to WrestleMania 20, and that was in the Garden, and it was amazing. Even just the Garden, no matter what it is, whether it's the Knicks or whether it's your favorite artist, the dream is to go to the Garden. So AEW goes to the Garden. I think they would challenge. I truly think they would challenge the original All In for Sellout Time.
Oh yeah. No doubt.
Yeah, I don't think it would last 20 minutes. The only reason it would last more than 20 minutes is because Ticketmaster sucks.
Yes.
Which I think that everyone that watches that's on Ticketmaster think it sucks. So that's not special.
It really isn't. But that was Double or Nothing 2026. In terms of, we have a Dynamite Collision 3-hour special this Wednesday. Matches that were announced, we have a lights out Philly street fight between Chris Statlander and Hikaru Shida. Chris Jericho will take on Ricochet with everyone banned from ringside. We will hear from the Jet, the TNT champion Kevin Knight, about his actions. Mark Davis will face Jungle Jack Perry in the quarterfinals of the Owen Hart Foundation Cup tournament. Renee Paquette will interview Kyle Fletcher and Don Callis. And we will be getting a 5-second pose with Adam Copeland and Christian Cage, your new AEW World Tag Team Champions. The 5-second pose will be back. And then we're getting a celebration for MJF's world title win for him being a 3-time world champion.
The 5-second pose thing is disgusting pandering, and Tony Khan, I expected better of you. Okay?
Oh.
Disgusting. No, I'm just kidding. I can't wait.
For sure.
Dude, I love 5-second poses, and I'm looking forward to whatever happens. Shout out to my friend Kendi and Laura. They will be in the building for that show. But I've called it. The only thing I expect to see on this show, like, you can do whatever you want. I think some woman is going to come back and do something in the Shida and Chris Statlander match. I don't know who it is. I have no idea. It's just a gut feeling, and I very much am wrong often. Second, but the only thing I expect to see is after the 5-second pose, the super kick party or what music hitting, and we get the stare down, and we get the match announced that we know we're going to get. Cope and Christian versus the Young Bucks, probably in San Jose, California, for Forbidden Door. Let's fucking go. Now, right now, I'm not going to Forbidden Door, but JR brought up an idea, and it would definitely get me to California. FTR versus the Knockout Brothers from New Japan. Yeah. Like, if we get, I'm gone. I mean, I'm there. Like, no doubt, no things. It's like, I will cancel every other trip I have to be there for that, because that, right now, that's my dream match. FTR versus Knockout. That's my Floyd personal dream match. When Dax was asking about matches FTR should have in January, I said Knockout Bros. I've literally sent him a direct message of a Knockout Bros match because, like I said, I don't really know if he watched it. I sent the link because I just think they're so amazing, and I think them and FTR can do something. So, yeah, that would absolutely change my plans for Forbidden Door if those four are going at it.
For sure. And then the last thing we wanted to mention was that they did officially announce, we've been waiting on it, we've heard the rumors, AEW Redemption was announced, AEW's next pay-per-view after Forbidden Door, where AEW will be hosting that in Montreal, Quebec, Canada at Centerbell Arena.
Dude, yeah. It's going to be fun. I have no idea what to expect. Montreal crowds tend to be great. I'm hoping as a non-big speedball fan, I hope he has a big match.
Oh, yeah. No,
yeah.
I got to imagine that he has just a absolutely fucking banger of a match. Seriously.
Can we get Speedball versus Kevin Knight in Montreal?
I can see it happening.
We can see that.
I can see it happening.
Yeah.
So... But outside of that, I think that's going to close it out, though, for this episode of All Things Elite. I think me and Floyd are just fortunate that we got to be at such an outstanding show this past weekend, and we're so excited about the future of AEW, and just, man, this company is so hot right now, and it's so fun to watch. So, yeah, we're just excited about talking about it moving forward, for sure.
Oh, rumors and innuendo about it. It's always funny how all this stuff comes out right after, or either right before AEW pay-per-view or right after.
What do we got?
Yeah. So this one is WWE is interested in FTR.
Oh boy.
Have you seen that?
I did see that. Yeah. You know what? Honestly, yeah. You can take that.
You know what? Their number one goal is they do this to take care of their family, but they also do this to elevate tag team wrestling. And let's be real, WWE does not give a fuck about tag team wrestling. There are tag teams in WWE I like. I love Fraxium. I think they're amazing. I love the Street Profits. I think they're amazing. I thought the Creed brothers had the potential to be great. Give me Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate as a tag team. They're the Los Americanos right now. All those tag teams, I'd love to watch wrestle. But who are the tag team titles on? Damian Priest and R-Truth, and Austin Theory, and whatever member of the Vision happens to be healthy right then. So this is not a shot at WWE, because you're allowed to decide what you want to be important in your product. You're allowed to do that. You're tailoring your product to your audience, right? So I really don't want this taken as a shot, but FTR is extremely passionate about tag team wrestling, and tag team wrestling, the way WWE presents it, doesn't seem like it fits with what FTR talks about. But the bag is the bag. You know what I mean? But for me, with how WWE has been, and the cutting the contracts and the releasing of people and how they've treated the New Day and all that kind of stuff, literally it would have to be a guaranteed contract to me. For me, in my opinion, this is not from, I've never talked to them, nor will I ever talk to them about this. It would have to be like a guaranteed deal where they couldn't be released, because right now, every deal that you sign with WWE for like however long I've known about WWE's is technically a rolling 90-day deal. So if they're going to offer you a big bag of money to bring you in, just to 6 months later ask you to take a pay cut, and then when you don't take the pay cut, release you, why even go back? I don't know. I just, like, from everything I've ever known about these guys, they care about carrying the flag for tag team wrestling. They care about elevating the next generation of tag team wrestling. They care about tag team wrestling bringing it on to the next FTR, the next Young Bucks, the next in the great line of tag teams, the next Cope and Christian, whoever that is. That's what they care about. So I don't see them going to WWE. But I want to make this clear. If they go to WWE, I will be rocking the Revival shirt, and you will see me next to Green Shirt Guy. No, I'm just kidding. I can't afford those tickets. But I'll be somewhere up in the hundreds in the buy three, get one free, cheapest ticket that I can get to be there. But I will still be there. I am not, this whole relationship with FTR Revival isn't going anywhere. But I personally, just on what I've heard in interviews, what I've gathered, don't think that's something that they would do.
Yeah, no way.
But
no way.
Who knows? Who fuck knows? I didn't think there was any way Cody would go. I thought he had burnt that bridge with the WWE, and he's the number one star in the company now. So who the fuck knows? That being said, I think that's it.
I think that'll do it, yeah. So,
yeah.
Guys, appreciate all the support, obviously. It's been so much fun these last few weeks with AEW, and we can't wait moving forward towards Forbidden Door. And of course now Redemption, and of course All in London. So be sure to keep sticking with us for all of your AEW coverage moving forward. Rate, review, subscribe, download this fine show, whether you're listening to us on YouTube Music, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, whatever the case. Give us a share with your friends, family, coworkers, whoever you wish. Leave a rating if you would like. And follow us on Twitter. We are at ATElitePod. You can also follow at Social Suplex, who make this show possible, and check out all the other great shows they have on their network. I'm at Austin Sumowitz, SCUMOWICZ. Floyd is at Floyd Johnson Jr. on Twitter. Sign up for the Social Suplex newsletter. Link is in the description of the show. And I will pass it off to my boy Floyd so he can take us home on this week's episode of All Things Elite.
So at the show this week, I was like, there was Dave, there was Journey, there was me, there was Kendi, there was Austin, there was Sydney. We were all sitting 6 in a row, and it was just like, and I took a moment before the show, and I think it was like in the middle, and I saw it, and And then in the front row on the other side, I had my friend Christine and my friend John. They were in the front row, and I was just looking around, and there's just people all through the things that Adam was at the end of our row, and I saw it, and I was just like, man, I just felt blessed and fortunate to have the people that I've known, the relationships and friendships I've gathered since All In and this whole AEW thing started. So it's like, I talk about it a lot on here, and I try not to get over sentimental, but dude, it was like those moments where you feel like, oh, I'm the luckiest person ever, because I've found a crew and I found a community. And you know what I haven't had? I haven't had people trying to backstab me or talk shit about me or anything like that. I've found genuine friends in life that I would hang and do stuff that had nothing to do with wrestling with. So I thank you people. I thank Austin, and I thank all the other people in the crew for just honestly just being good people. So I tell you this, whatever you can do your best to find the good people in your life. Do your best. They will make this wrestling thing last forever. Because I've seen people, it's like, oh, the fans ruin it for me. The fans ruin it for me. And I understand it. Everybody handles everything different. But when you find you a group of people, you find you a community that you can talk to, you can disagree with, you can communicate with, it enhances this wrestling experience on a level that you will never have. And you will never see. So I implore you to open yourself up to people. Open yourself up inside this wrestling world. Be inviting. Understand that there's going to be different ideas, different ways to represent it. People are going to like different things. They're going to dislike everything. And that shouldn't change the way you think about them as a person. It's just, sometimes they agree, sometimes they disagree. Because I say this to just say, in a weekend where another person I know, one person I loved passed away, tell your people you love them, show the people around you appreciate them, and open yourself up to new people and new opportunities, because you'll never know how they can enhance your life and you can enhance other lives. With that, I will leave you how I always leave you, whether it is home, work, or school. Always do your best to be a leader.
Most people don't realize how much their personal information is being bought and sold every day. Data brokers are making billions, pulling details about you from public records and the internet, and then packaging and selling it, usually without your consent. That's how your information lands in the hands of scammers, spammers, even stalkers. It's why you get endless robocalls and why ads seem to follow you everywhere. That's where Aura comes in. Aura actively removes your data from broker sites and keeps it off. They also instantly alert you if your information shows up in a breach or on the dark web. But Aura goes beyond data protection. With one app, you get a VPN, antivirus, password manager, spam call protection, dark web monitoring, and even up to $5 million in identity theft insurance. All backed by 24/7 US-based fraud support. Other companies might sell just credit monitoring or just a VPN. Aura gives you all of it, together, at the same price competitors charge for just one service. Start your free trial today at aura.com/remove. Protect yourself now at aura.com/remove.